Back again. I'll wait for a few people to get on. There's a bit of an update. I'll see how many people are awake in the world. It should be morning in America. So good morning, guys. I hope you're having a lovely morning. Half of us don't even sleep these days, so it doesn't really matter what time of day it is. Who do we have on? We have an energy shift. So I just wanted to give the feminines an update. I'm like, we do focus on the masculines. Can't talk, DM is calling you. Oh, good luck with that giggle. Breathe. And trust me to put this up right when you're about to do that. You're like, it's okay, I've added Darry. Darry. How many do we have on? Who do we have? Yes, it has. There has been a shift. Just talk normally, for Christ's sakes. Hi. Okay, feminines, your energy has shifted. What is going on? Now, I have experienced some things today, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting this now. I'm getting this. Feminines are being tested at the moment. Little do you know. Now, you may have some mirroring effects of things that perhaps you were pointing out that perhaps your twin, you were perhaps calling your twin out on, and suddenly, preferably not. Oh, for what reason would you want to? No. Listen. Just listen. You have your kind of bits and bobs in order. Just calm your farm. You'll be fine. Just talk to your twin naturally like he's a normal person. Breathe. Okay. So there has been a shift energetically. And I've sort of noticed it's more today. It's probably since my time this morning. So you guys will be moving into that energy. You might be receptively feeling it right now. Now, probably, obviously, Australia is ahead. So energetically, I do find what I experience tends to then flow on, and you guys receive that by the evening. Now, I've started seeing a pattern, and I do feel that a lot of the energy, when you look at it, our energy was shifting probably last year. When would I say? October, November, December. A shift happened in connections in the twin flame journey. Now, if you were not, yeah, all good. If you were not in direct communication, your energy regardless would have shifted. Something in you, in your 3D life, would have shifted. Now, it moved forward to massive tower moments and trigger points going through from January anywhere to April. Now, that was, when you look at the planets, that was a very karmic cycle. And a lot of people are getting, like, there's a lot of mixed messages out on YouTube at the moment. Now, you've got to follow your intuition connected to what you feel is correct and what you feel is going on with your path, with your twin. But it's not even just about your twin. It's about what's happening in your life and the lessons as a twin that you will learn. And that comes down to which wave of twin you are. And you really shouldn't really get too triggered about it. Because it's about your soul growth, ultimately. So, you know, when I talk about it from that perspective, especially in my path, it's very much where I am at in my journey. It's more to do with my spiritual growth. A lot of you will have experienced this disconnect and you're feeling like, is it real? Is it my twin? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we've heard it, we've done it. And yes, through the path we do tend to do that. That's quite normal. Some of the energy you might have felt shifted. So the first wave of twins that have been on the journey longer and had tower moments and things happen, your energy would have come to a resolve. Now, the release of the ego connected to that path, it's sometimes you may have felt you had no, like you couldn't feel the energy as per se. And it's not so much that you don't feel the energy. It's more because you're directly focused on your path and you're not having the ego directly connected to the journey. you're sort of off the grid theoretically. So you're not as like concerned or micromanaging the dynamic of the connection, because you are focused on the reality factor that you have some fucking blocks and you need to get rid of them, or you're not going to have a very nice life. That's pretty much where it gets to. So it's not, you know, I have to do X, Y, and Z to get into union. Now, those of you who are early on in the journey, you may find it at times testing to listen to the first wave videos. So if you do get triggered, you are actually better to book a reading and learn to go with flow. That's probably my best advice to you guys, because you can't fast track the journey. The journey is your life path. It's not just the twin connection. So if you're meant to meet people, that's meant to happen. That's the way it goes. You know, don't try and micromanage it and feel that if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to get into the actual connection of it, right? But for the first wave of twins, and perhaps the second, there has been a shift in the frequency. Now, in the initial stages, like I was saying, last year, that time frame, there was a lot of transformations and changes at a vibrational level, emotionally. It transmuted between January through to April. So there could have been tower moments and breakups between twin connections. That was already in the pipeline. It was already coming. And, you know, in the whole layman's terms, and I'm sorry if it's bouncing, I'll be inside in a minute. It was divinely guided for lessons and a theoretical test, a spiritual test. Now, some would have deemed some wave of twins to have miserably failed that test, but theoretically not, because there's a lesson and an energy, and everyone at a theoretical level that comes into your life was for your path and their path. It's not one-sided. We're meant to be in that path. Now, those of you who have stepped into the truth of spiritually who you are, a lot of you may be experiencing all of a sudden people coming into your life again. Now, it doesn't have to be twin. It can be other people, but it can even be old energies and old memories and trigger points. Now, for those of you who have chosen to step off path, which theoretically it's not stepping off path, it's moving in a separate direction, you may have experienced some similar energies similar to twin. And that's causing some confusion and some dynamics. And the way you need to look at it is, if you're holding your energy correctly as a twin, realizing that regardless of whether you are or aren't with twin, you're going to have those trigger points. And if you are holding that energy and that frequency correctly, then the way in which a soulmate connection perhaps will flow better. You do have to be very mindful at the moment. You know, each time you're choosing to do something, to be in that mindfulness and say, am I doing this because of money? Am I doing this because of fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of being left on the shelf? You know, so when you do that, you know you're coming from a truthful place. So a lot of the way I've been handling my aspect of the journey is I'm being very selective about who I choose to mix with. I'm also asking myself those questions because I'm preventing myself from being codependent. So I'm being very mindful about the fact that it's my responsibility to fill my cup, my responsibility to try and find that happiness. Be that today had some trigger points, and it really wasn't connected to me as per se, but it was a test for myself. And this is what I will be talking about in a moment. Finding things that make you happy, and it can be the simplest of things. It can be doing your garden, listening to music, you know, but you have to be in that vibration of being able to purge. Now, purging doesn't have to come in that beautiful layman's terms of I'm a Buddhist monk and I'm meditating and I'm cleansing myself. Yes, those are essential tools and they can help as well, but it's also being 3D. We are 3D and we are mass manifestors as well. So yes, we have that aspect of alchemy where we can transmute and change situations, but we also do need to be in the energy. So it's like we're a spiritual energy. And at times, our spiritual knowing is moving and flowing because we're at that correct frequency and vibration. And then at other times, we are at that point where we physically are quite disconnected because we're dealing with aspects of the 3D. So you need to be in the 3D. And while you're in that, you may experience times where you wish to verbalize things. Now, a few tests for feminines are coming at the moment, and it can be connected to your karmics of your past or people that were coming in, and it could have been from long ago, and almost a tolerance you had towards their vibration and the way in which they spoke to you, that for saving the peace, you would just bite your tongue and, you know, go, it is what it is. They are who they are. It may be that they're holding an ignorant energy. Let's just, you know, keep the peace. A lot of you guys are going to be really tested, and it is about people really pushing your buttons at the moment and getting to the point where it's very, very old energy. So these old energies, although most of the purging was supposed to have happened quite at the beginning of the Lionsgate portal, what you guys are going to find is the energy is actually happening after the fact, and it's actually coming in a very heavy vibration. So you're going to find yourself to be triggered, but you're also going to find yourself owning your truth. And for me personally, I've experienced it today, but I'm also not micromanaging myself about it either. It's like it's been long overdue to be said, statements in a sense, of getting to a point where you're not tolerating no BS anymore, and showing people where that boundary is, that it's just not okay for them to step over that mark. Yeah. It is positive because you're having that realization of almost, you know, and it's holding on to it, funny enough, is as hard, and showing you as strong of what you are, even by not. So we had been micromanaging ourselves to a point. So to purge verbally, you know, as long as you're mindful that you're doing it and it's done, you've said your piece, and there's the boundary and it's over and done with, move along, that's fine. As long as you don't stay in that energy. I mean, I actually had a situation with the karmic today, and it was really disrespect towards past tense energy. And, you know, sort of a poem I wrote on Facebook that I haven't actually kind of cut and pasted yet and placed it over, is about the fact that, look, we are not who we were yesterday. And if people are holding energies from 15 years ago, which we all do, we hold energies, but we fail to disconnect. So it is almost like feminines and masculines at times are that whole movie, failure to launch. We can't launch if we can't let that go, but we can't launch if we can't actually say to people, listen, we're actually not the people we were yesterday, and if you're holding on to that, that's your area and you need to directly deal with that. And if you can't let it go, I'm really sorry for you, but X, Y, and Z, this is the way it is. So, you know, it's really creating those new boundaries, and some of the tests are coming through in shapes of karmics, in shapes of soulmate energies, and some people are really confused about what to do right now. You know, some of you don't want to be to the point where you want to be waiting around for life to happen. And I can't really guide you either way, because it's your soul path in that domain. That is a responsibility spiritually you need to choose. However, the pattern I have seen, and that's why I'm being extremely wary about the choices I'm making, and it's not to say that I don't have opportunities. It's more to do with the fact that I'm being very cautious and respectful, in a sense of the way I'm handling my energy while I'm healing and purging, that I'm mindful that my energy jumps back and forward day in, day out. So I'm still being open to life, but I'm being very careful about letting someone at a permanent nature return prematurely. And that's for everybody involved, and the energy to be at that correct frequency, because too many of us at the moment are to the point where we're like, you know what, we've been on this journey how many years? Bloody, bloody, blah. Let's go move on with life. And yes, that's relevant, but doing a little bit of work on yourself this year is very well invested. It's very worthwhile, so to speak, because this is a decision year. This is a, you know, D-Day, I would say. That's very much energetically how I am feeling this energy to be. So, you know, when you're going to a channel and you're hearing, look, you're going to, yes, some of you will be going off with a soulmate, and it's not to say that that's not relevant. But the energy of what I'm physically seeing is be very careful about your decisions. Be very mindful of your decisions right now. If you're purely doing it because you spiritually feel, how would I put it? Ask yourself the question, are you 100% sure? You know, in entering into that. But also be to the point where you're not putting, how would I put it? Restrictions and expectations, because again, that is twin flame journey connected, and that's very much, although that was directly relevant to the twin flame journey, you are a twin, so even if you choose to be with a soulmate, you still directly have to hold your energy that way at that frequency. So some of us are thinking that if we go into soulmate connections, there's not going to be dramas. A lot of you who are the first wave, is what you're going to realize is at different levels, your frequency is quite high. You can actually trigger masculine energies in your life, and that's at a romantic level. So they may not quite know how to take your energy at this point in time because we're ascending. So it can be quite risky and dangerous for them emotionally when they are not knowing whether they're coming or going. And we do need to be mindful of that energy while we're healing, especially since a lot of Kundalinis are awakening, and it can be transmuted through the art of the deed. That can actually trigger them to have an awakening as well, and it may not be divinely guided at this point in time for that to be occurring. So just be mindful connected to that can actually cause a secondary awakening in another person. You may also in the male domain be seeing men changing quite a bit, emotionally speaking, and that's kind of the cue to you to show you how your twin is evolving and changing. But also be mindful that the masculine energy within you spiritually is transferring and changing too. Yeah, I I don't, but when you have a child you try to, when it comes to taking no shit. I mean, we also need to be mindful that a masculine and a masculine energy in a relationship physically and spiritually won't work. It's a spiritual connection. So we need to be mindful that we need to have that balanced. So you've got to look back to where perhaps we were trying to guide the journey, and steer it in a particular way and really had a time frame on it, and perhaps in a 3D nature of what you have in front of you now, where life is sort of mimicking that energy, and it's a bit like a lesson, a karmic lesson we're physically and spiritually learning, where we perhaps were micromanaging energies or placing expectations and conditionings, and that again is showing you where you're going back over old ground and slipping, and where you need to pull yourselves back, so to speak, to get yourselves aligned correctly again. Does that make sense? Feeling strange more. Don't put pressure on yourself to make a decision. Why is there an expectation of making a decision right now? Why spiritually could you not be meeting people, getting to know them, enjoying their company, and changing the kind of connection with the male energy? Why can't it be at that slow ratio level where you can pace it and you can enjoy each other's company? Does it have to go completely to the sexual nature right away? Could it not get to a point where you could actually have a great connection with the male energies in general, and balance that energy? You know, does it have to be of a sexual nature? But also another thing you may wish to look at spiritually is where perhaps, cool, Janelle, I'm happy for you. Enjoy the journey. How long have you been alone, Becca? Not that it really makes any difference. I would be really careful this year. I would be very careful this year, guys. And another thing you have to ask yourself, like, remember, this journey, you are twin. if you are going to a soulmate for the wrong reasons, remember your role as a feminine is to step into your power. Now, when we say step into power, it's not crowns, tiaras, being a bitch, all of that shit. It's not. It's about you feeling physically and spiritually healed. You coming to a place where no matter what, be it a man was in your life or a masculine related energy, whatever sex that is in your life, that you are spiritually grounded enough to carry mountains. And this journey has been tough, okay? If you can be at that balanced energy, by all means, go for gold and, find a soulmate. But if you spiritually feel, if you're not so sure and you're 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out, I would not make any decision. I would spend more time working on myself. Very much this year I've committed to working on myself. And that's only because, the casualties of love in life, feminines, you guys have been through it yourself, okay? We do not want anyone else to get hurt. That was not what this twin flame journey is about. Yes, we've learned many lessons in this journey. It has very much been about having unconditional love for everyone. And it is not that anyone is better. It is about the fact that part of this spiritual journey, and especially for the first wavers, they're like, what do you mean this isn't a romantic connection? Rationally speaking, I don't know who would want to be a twin, but it is so. And yes, there is beauty in it, but there is also a lot of fucking heartache. It is hell. But who you become on the other side of it is a much more enlightened human being, and you do come home. So 9 times out of 10, what it does help with is really helping you purge that hurt that you've held in there, but you had no idea you were. So it's beautiful in that aspect of things. That's okay. Got to flow with the energy. Flow with the energy if you can't. I mean, I can tell you, I had days where I was feeling very, very fatigued. Motivation-wise, certain zodiac signs will find to the energy different. We've got Uranus retrograde. That is going to be, we're going to have to get used to that because that's going to be with us for a while. But the other planets, there is quite a heavy month. Next month is lighter, but it's still going to be strict. And by October, we will be moving. But that's when romantic related dynamics are going to come through of D-Day. But D-Day's already started. And that's really for us to do this processing work. Realistically speaking, if you want me to be completely honest, it is completely a choice. Hello, Leon. I do believe firmly that there's no rational reason why they would throw twins back on this planet with this much bullshit without there to be union. There is, if you choose to have union, it is, in my mind, there is no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. And that's physically because, yes, there's so much energy, but why would we go so many years in the journey for there to be absolutely nothing? There's either a massive lesson we have to learn or there's physical union. And this year has been the heaviest to date that I remember. But ultimately speaking, we are definitely changing to the point where we are going to be completely different. There will be things we won't put up with. But you will come to that crossing point by the end of the year where you will have complete and utter clarity of what you want. You will be very grounded. But again, this is probably more for the first and the second wavers. All of us collectively will have that clarity. Hi, Dari. But you'll also have an aspect where you'll feel more free. Even the ones that are further back in the journey that haven't got halfway yet, and halfway is what? There's no time frame on it. Some of us have been 20 years, some of us have been 10, some of us have been 4. It doesn't bracket you. It's what you're supposed to learn on that journey. You may be in a particular wave. You may have particular karmic energies to learn and lessons to learn, so to speak. But at the moment, I would very much say feminines be super cautious because you're going to have karmic related energies popping up for you guys particularly. You're going to have dynamics energetically of a test. It won't matter, doll. The wave usually comes down to age bracket, but not necessarily. And Yeah, I'll try and do a video separate. I mean, you can Google it on YouTube, but I'll try and do some videos separate about it. But I'll do a video separate. Too complicated. Yeah. Look, again, we could still be in the first wave. I've been on the journey 16 to 17 years. Not that I knew till 2 years ago. But then there's other people that are still in the first wave and they've only been on the journey 5 years. Do you know what I mean? So it can be age bracket, your actual age bracket. And again, there's life path that's directly involved. So it's a lot of things, but it's almost don't even bother looking at it. Because honestly, you can follow the stages. The stages are very varied, very wide. Many of the first wavers are actually dealing with the emotion of disconnect. And the disconnectors are almost where you're not micromanaging. Well, you're not. You're physically releasing and trusting in the process that it's divinely guided, and what will happen will be. What will be, will be. Do you know what I mean? They're pretty much the first wavers. The ones that are going through that aspect of release. Hi, Joyce. How are you? Okay, so the other ones will be going through their energy in a different way. And probably the second and the third wavers will more be going, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go find a soulmate. Thinking that energetically your twin's not going to come back, but unfortunately, yes, your twin will come back and you will have a change. Yeah. Oh, the joy, right? Yeah, well, look, I've been obviously being an empath and being a twin, my early stages were very much helping, and I mean, I cannot tell you how many I was helping and supporting emotionally, spiritually, etc. And after a while, it's like, you know, then I was, I had 2 younger siblings. I would help my mum and dad with that. Lived on a farm for a while, again, helping my grandfather and my grandmother, God rest their souls. Just helping in general. And then I got into the care field. It was 25 years of care. I was a solo parent, as well as I've been partnered twice with people with children, which was beautiful. I always am very grateful for having children in my life, because I thought I couldn't have children. I'm very blessed to have my daughter. But the thing is, when you look at it, 9 times out of 10 feminines really didn't give time to themselves. So to have that blessing to give yourself that is almost like you feel it's wrong. But it's incredibly necessary, and that's for the people around you as well as yourself. I mean, if you can't actually do the work on yourself and just feel safe that it's okay to be alone, and it's nice. I mean, I am going to start blogging and showing you perhaps what my day looks like as a solo queen, so that you guys can see it. Yes, it can be dull, but it can be very peaceful, and you know, you create your own routine and you're okay and very happy within your own routine. You have your own circle of friends. You're very selective about your circle of friends. You become more mindful in the way you react and interconnect with people. Yeah, so it's not bad. It doesn't have to be bad, but you're coming home to yourself. You can't be a good partner if you don't feel okay in your own energy. And don't go searching for who you are, because... And that's really what my post was about. We will never know who we are, because we're not the same person in any given day. Because we're always changing, we're never going to be that same person. So we're always looking for something that doesn't exist. Generally from childhood, you'll find that you are quite giving. To a point where you vibrationally, look, I remember as a child, I intuitively felt the vibrations. So how my parents felt, I was very tuned into that and very plugged in. That's okay. And then you go that one step further. You tend to, you know, want to give more and help more. You feel their pain, and that's the empathy aspect of it. And that's really where a lot of kind of psychic aspects can come from, that intuitive, energetic, vibrational feel. And many of you will find that you are directly plugged in. And I was explaining to a friend of mine the other day, because a few questions have been asked to me about the aspect of, You know, how do you tune into this person? How do you tune into that? Look, if I'm reading you, you've got to think of the interconnection of everything. We're direct vibration. So if, for instance, I'm talking to you and you ask me a question about a person, or a particular person comes through for you that's passed over, what happens is they're in your energetic field. So I tune directly into you, which is your matrix. Then in your frequency, I then can see them. And sometimes I can see them and it's connected to you. And then I can bounce out and it branches. So it's building upon the energy of what you see like a wave. It's not, and it's a visual. I visually see their face, the way they look, and it's like a picture and a build-up of things. But each person energetically is interconnected. So vibrationally, if you have someone come into your life and you're like, oh, this is a bit confusing, you know, could they be my twin? The reality is, the initial stage of the acknowledgement of who it was is who it was. I mean, you can change it all you like and wish for it to be different, but it doesn't really matter who it is, to be quite honest. We're all interconnected. And even the people that come into your life that are soulmates and karmics are interconnected from a past life, and they're destined to be there in a particular shape or form to spiritually help you evolve. So you will be able to telepathically and intuitively and vibrationally pick up on their energy, and you'll know. You will know their energies. You'll sense it. Does that make sense? Mine was just more heightened as a child. Yeah. One thing I am going to do, which is something I meditated on today, I'm going to create a video for you guys, and it's going to tell the most beautiful twin flame story. What I want you guys to do, I'm going to keep it in a folder, and I'm going to call it the manifestation. The reason I'm saying that is because, look, what we think, we transmute. So, you know, spiritually speaking, we need something to look at in a shape or form to get into, you know, to have the download, to have the awareness. Although depending on those vibrations there, obviously you use the techniques to purge. But if you're going and watching 10 videos and you're at that day of being triggered, you need to do breathing exercises. I'm going to create a video that is absolutely beautiful and perfect, and I want you guys to go and watch it. Because when you think of it, to meditate, we have the pent-up energy, right? It's the sacral chakra energy. It's also the breathing, and when panicked, we breathe. It's the intuition, the third eye, and the picturing it. So straight away, if you are listening to a video and you're getting triggered, what can happen is you're assisting and aiding in that manifestation of your fear-based scenario that you're building in your mind. So what I'm going to do is create a perfect video, and it's going to be the Twin Flame Toolkit video. And all you need to do is go through to that folder and just watch it. I'll make it short and sweet, and I'll make it mushy and gooey. And that's your go-to video, okay? And that way you can disconnect and you can tune into the best outcome. But we are repelling each other big time. Yesterday, today, I feel angry and triggered towards her. It's not mine, I would say. What's coming up in a sense of a thought pattern when you're thinking of them, and you're technically not repelling each other. You're just probably holding the same frequency and energy. So you're probably holding both masculine. It could be like, you've got to see what you're triggering in each other. What subject matter is coming up around that time. That will be the key to it. Sometimes it's actually the key inside the subject matter that is the cue. I'm glad you like that, Dolly. Oh, I just thought to tell you guys this because it's come through so heavy in the last few hours. Again, depending on what wave of twin you are, like I said in the previous video, each wave of twins, or each group, depending on what group you fall in, you know, go look at the last video, which was the twin flame video. I am starting to note down the actual things I'm sensing and feeling now, which I wasn't able to this morning. I do feel at the moment we need to look at the fact that this is a karmic cycle year. So this is not only creating the foundation, it's removing old energy. We're doing a lot of purging. It's like we're at the doctor's surgery. We are having a fitness test of agility. We also need to maybe be open to the potentiality of what should transpire and what is intended to transpire and not micromanage it. Are we that much in our fear-based energy that we physically need to control what the outcome is by the end of the year? Or could we perhaps be open and go for the ride? Just for once. Just be spontaneous. We've met 2 days ago, not looking. It's not all over, but maybe it's... It never cuts out. It might go quiet for a while you do some soul healing, but it doesn't cut out. You can't cut the umbilical cord. I hate to break it to you. You can break the karmic umbilical cord in a sense of the energy you were supposed to learn within that connection, but you can't break the connection because theoretically, I'm in my pajamas. Well, technically not. It's cold. Yeah, just work on yourselves. Like, what is the harm in actually doing some work on yourselves? Right, I'm going to start putting like manifestation things around the house, and I'm going to start doing some videos so you guys can see what my routine is, how I keep myself balanced, and I'm not perfect. Like I said, I had a bit of verbal diarrhea today towards my karmic, and I have no regrets. What was that? You may benefit from looking up your mind. Yes and no. I mean, again, it's control-related issues. Can't we trust in what we're learning is necessary? Knowledge ultimately is not always power, and a lot of it is ego-driven. You know, to work with the blocks. Dolly, trust me, a lot's changing by October. I've already started recording and tuning into the energy, and I have seen a synchronistic pattern, and there are things changing. But change can be painful too. We are experiencing that as it is. Yeah, 100%. It's not to outrule it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying make sure your frequency is correct. And even if you were to know what your life path was supposed to be, etc., how you relate to that path at that given point in time when you're intercepting does not dictate the outcome. Because you could get there and you could feel I've got my life together, and then how you relate to that, especially in a twin connection, is going to be so different. Because usually these things are divinely guided and you just don't know how to take it. If you know what I mean. So you think, yeah, I'm all sweet, I've got this covered. I've purged and I've grown so much. Trust me, I was in that energy. I was like, and honestly, I will give myself credit. We have to give ourselves credit for each stage. I had changed a great deal, and I'm proud for the effort I made, and I did the very best I could. That's okay, Dolly. Stress less, lady. 47. That's a fair point. It's probably more patterns of 4 and 7. That's what I'm intuitively picking up. Again, I will put a video up about the actual stages of the journey. If you actually look up, what is it called? Stages of twin flame journey. The ones that are getting to the point where they're having that disconnect and they're focusing on their own life, so to speak, you guys are at the end stage. So you're at the end of the journey, guys, and yet you're going, I mean, you should be really happy, theoretically. We're reaching the end of the video. Video? Good video. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it's helping. Yeah, so the ones of you who have separated, and look, some of you might have separated and you're saying, that's just rubbish, shielders, you know. That's rubbish. Yeah, the 4, double it by 11. 411 and 711 is very common. I don't know why this is giving me a bloody... Yeah. So it can be more... I'll put the information in underneath. The 411, I was looking at it today. Now, the frequency of Earth comes down to different mathematical equations. What was I being shown? Now, it's talking about the amount of twins. It's also a mathematical equation connected to the universe. I will put a video up about it. I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll put the video up about it to explain it in layman's terms. If that is okay. Really? It means you're reaching union. Apparently, and for the goodness sakes, I don't like the fact that my head is super enlarged. Oh well, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Vanity. 13 of them, each meaning different. Oh, look, I asked for a sign from university years ago to show me bloody pink cars, and I was telling the lady earlier, years ago, I don't know, it was years and years ago, I asked universe to show me, oh, thank you, I just don't like the fact that the camera's kind of really zoomed in at my head. I'm actually holding the camera quite far away. I tapped something, that's the way it goes. So I'd asked universe for a sign to show me, and I thought, okay, what is the most random thing I could think of? And it was a pink mini. Show me a pink mini if I will have communication with twin. And of course, I was walking, and I've thought, never am I, and it was night time as well, so I was thinking, I'm not going to see a pink mini, there's no way. And I hadn't been in contact, for a long time on this occasion, and I've walked around the block, and I used to be haunted by friggin' Coca-Cola cans. And I'm like, universe is giving me shit. And he literally drinks Coke non-stop. Absolutely drinks Coca-Cola. So generally speaking, your eating habits can be quite different. So tonight I had kale, and he'd be looking at me going, what did you eat? Like, that is disgusting. It looks like rabbit food. And of course, he's loading on the cheese and the fries and all the rest of it. And I'm like, that's going to give you cardiac arrest, even though I smoke. So does he. But it's the yin and yang of that energy. But he did teach me to let go and just, try some naughty food now and then. But anyway, on this occasion, I'm walking around the block, and then I'm seeing a Coca-Cola can. So I thought, yeah, I told you I wouldn't see a pink car, and I've seen a Coca-Cola can. Like, being sarcastic to universe. Be very careful how sarcastic you are to universe. So I walk around the block, and bang, pink mini. Now, not only was there a pink mini, but they do say that when you see government officials, i.e. police, ambulance and fire brigade, it is directly connected to Archangel Michael, theoretically. This is what I've read. So it was directly next to a friggin' police car. Well, the other day, I was being bombarded by pink cars, and I'm going, universe, like, I'm not even thinking about it, but now these pink minis are friggin' stalking me. I'm not joking. I'm literally seeing 20 of the fuckers a day, and it's like, it's torment. Universe is being really horrible to me. It's almost like they're playing a prank on me. So the other day, I was thinking to myself, no, this is getting ridiculous. What are you trying to say, universe? And so I went, if you were super serious, you would put one in front of me as well. I'm not joking. I was sandwiched by 2 minis. And I had to look in the rearview mirror thinking, is this a joke? And I've looked thinking the car has come around and come in front of me. I was sandwiched between 2 pink minis. I just thought it was amusing. So yes, you can communicate with universe. You guys have been too busy looking at the synchronicities. You need to ask universe some questions. It does work. I was sitting with my friend once, and we were saying, okay, how much does this work? Does this stuff work? Could we actually energetically, vibrationally make things happen? And so I was sitting with my girlfriend on her veranda years ago, and I was like, do you reckon we could get that? And it's so horrible. I'm so not like this anymore. Do you think we could get that person to accidentally trip a bit. And she goes, go on. And so we're going trip, 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 trip. They actually tripped. And we were like, ooh, yeah. Bad Yilders. It was funny though. They didn't hurt themselves or anything, but it was very funny. To give you guidance. Yeah, so what you'll find is just before you'll see a lot of synchronicities, but they'll be the old synchronicities, like the old things you may have seen years ago, and you'll start seeing a pattern forming around that time. So it might be the numbers, it might be a particular song that you remember around the time, and it comes up out of nowhere and you're like, wow, I haven't heard this song in ages. Ew. I did add you on here as moderator, Derry. Has it come up yet, or haven't I saved it on the computer yet? So how soon after that fact did you have communication when you asked universe, from your experience? How long was it for me? For me, it was probably within a month. From memory. But it was when I released. That's the funny thing. It was like, you know what, it is going to be what it's going to be, and bang. And it was always that way. It was always when I just let it go and went, oh, whatever. I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. And again, it's the ego dying gradually. Yeah. There is a lot of patterns coming through. A lot of changes. Lot of changes. But we do need to get our frequency correct where we can be okay, where we can do things that are full of pleasure for us, even if it's just once in the day, just find something. I mean, after I have my purge today, it's like, right, I'm doing my garden. So I got my little vegetable garden. See, I was talking about us being more, let's get off the grid and actually start helping ourselves. I've got my vegetables, I've got my kale, I've got my herbs. Don't know if I want to go the chickens though. I used to farm chickens, and Dad, I don't know if I can ever forgive you for that. 700 of them. That was a whole lot of poo, I can tell you. I actually have, a few people have asked me if I have, and I just haven't. I have had no interest whatsoever. No interest whatsoever. It's not my business. Like, I'm just in my own world, so I have no need. I'm just trusting the universe is going to give me the correct road. The path will open of where I'm supposed to be, where I'm at right now purging. But also to stop me from being triggered, I'm choosing not to even know. I have no interest. Yeah, transformation. Pure transformation. It's one thing to have one pet chicken, to have 700 of them. I mean, no, that's a whole lot of shit. It rained one time, and they were free-range chickens. And it rained so bad, and their feed and their poo was on the ground, and my sister and I would get our gumboots on. You know, we went from Australia to third world country, but it wasn't. It was just a different way of living, and we had scooped it up to clean the area fresh, put the food down, and she said to me on this occasion, you are going at the bottom of the steps, because we had to take it down to the tip, which was down the road, and then everything else we'd recycle and do that. So I've got to the bottom of the step, and as she's put it down, it's bounced and the shit has covered me. It's like, me and chickens? Yeah, no. So yeah, I'm all for free-range chickens. I have enough compassion that way. But during that time, trust me, very little compassion. Yeah. Yeah. And we had cows, and they were like dogs to me, and then they go to the butchers and I'd be really sad and I'd cry. So I had to learn very quickly. Farm animals were not pets, okay, Yilders? I even named my rabbit after a guy that I liked, and my grandmother killed it. I was like, no. Farm life. Farm life. Yeah. Yeah, it does. I prefer cow manure, though. Yeah, look at me talking farm. Yes, so... Yes, it's raining. It's been... This is the most rain we've had in years. Yeah, it wasn't. It was named after a guy that I had a crush on. I was like, how could you do that? It was destiny. So, I guess I should love you and leave yous. I hope this mindfulness episode has helped. I just thought I'd give the Divine Feminines an update. Yeah. I firmly believe that the planet has it under control. We need to trust Mother Nature. Release and let go. Ours were organic. Yeah, they were all natural. Cool. Good vibrations to you guys too. Good luck with your purging. Good luck with setting your boundaries. It's going to be entertaining. Look out. World Divine Feminines are on a rampage. Love and light, guys. Bye.